Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the Science Kitchen. Now today is a typical British summer's day and it is really pouring down with rain. I'm not getting much vitamin D in this type of weather. So this leads us on to the topic of this video, and we're going to look into the potential protective benefit of vitamin D on coronavirus. There's been a lot of talk about this recently, so I'm going to go into the evidence and the science behind that and see if those rumours are said to be true or not. And I'm going to couple this video with a little recipe for a fish dish which has some good levels of vitamin D, so it's a good one to incorporate into your diet. So let's get right back to the apartment and I'll talk through the nutritional science. Let's get right down to it. Okay guys, so we're back inside, out of the rain, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail behind why vitamin D is important and any connection between vitamin D intake, supplementation, and incidence of coronavirus. So vitamin D is important for the regulation of calcium and phosphate in the body. Now, calcium we know is important for bone health, so any deficiencies in vitamin D, we see this knock-on effect and bone issues start to arise. One example of that is the condition rickets. Now, there's two different variants of vitamin D. You've got the D3 variant and the D2 variant. D3 is much more bioavailable than D2. And the sources of that are sunlight exposure and some animal protein sources, especially oily fish. And the D2 variant, vegetable sources, so mushrooms, leafy greens such as spinach. So then looking into a little bit of the scientific research, some studies have been done several years ago, but they've recently reviewed the evidence behind it. But it's worth considering some of the disproportionate effect of coronavirus on the black and ethnic minority groups, as they're being affected a lot more comparatively. So one of these studies has shown that we need an average of 9 minutes per day at lunchtime of direct sunlight exposure. But if you live, especially in the UK like me, that it's pretty damn cloudy and rainy at times, and you're not going to get that vitamin D exposure over the year. So it's been recommended that if you have light skin, that you do supplement over the colder, darker winter months, for example. But if you have dark skin, you need a bit longer than those 9 minutes in that sun exposure, and it's recommended that you do supplement the year round as well. And looking in the incidence of these respiratory tract infections and vitamin D supplementation from these scientific studies, so it's a little bit inconclusive, I have to say. So some studies have shown that there is a positive benefit of supplementing and the incidence of these infections. Some studies have shown that there's no benefit whatsoever. And there's even some studies that show there's a detrimental effect of supplementing with vitamin D and incidence of these infections. So what we like to see from studies is see consistent results, and we're just not seeing that at all. So, but there is this to be considered, that we can actually become deficient in vitamin D, even more so in these days where you might be self-isolating at home and more events in the summer aren't happening anymore. So we're stuck inside and not getting the same amount of sunlight as we were, say, a year ago. So it's worthwhile to look at 3 different steps. So one is can you get that 9 minutes of sun exposure per day at lunchtime? Step 2 is can you look at the dietary sources of vitamin D, and are you getting that step 1 and step 2? Which leads us on to, if you're not getting those, you might have a cause to supplement. But it's worth saying that everyone's different, and it's worth getting the advice of a medical professional and reviewing your lifestyle and seeing, what can be changed and what can be affected. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a video now. I'm going to show you a recipe for a salmon dish, which has got some really good levels of vitamin D. And let's get right in the kitchen and go for it. Okay guys, so we're going to start with our non-stick pan on a medium to low heat, and we'll take our beautiful wild salmon fillet, season, and just gently place into the pan. I like to move it around just a little bit so you don't get any areas of that salmon that's going to stick. While that's cooking, we're going to prepare our hollandaise sauce. So egg yolks are another great source of vitamin D. So we'll just gently cook this out over a bain-marie with some white wine vinegar. Take off the heat, and we're just going to gently and slowly incorporate some melted butter. And this is going to create a really luxurious, rich and creamy sauce to go with our salmon dish. So we'll just add a squeeze of lemon just to cut through the richness, and we'll go back to our salmon, which is beautifully crisped up on the bottom, and you can just see the cook of that salmon start to creep up. So just lift up, kiss it on one side of the pan, squeeze of lemon into the pan, which is just going to season that fish and help to steam and complete the cooking process. We'll just turn this, allow the heat to travel onto the other side of the fish, then remove from the pan, allow to rest, and it'll be perfectly cooked. While the salmon's resting, we'll prepare some spinach. We're just going to wilt this down really simply. So place this into the pan and just cook down. Now we'll just season and drain this off. So ready to assemble, we have some buttered new potatoes, our wilted spinach, and our seared salmon fillet. Just serve with your hollandaise sauce. So here's our vitamin D enhanced salmon. Done. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure to hit that like button. Leave a comment in the section below. Let me know your thoughts. Hit subscribe to not miss the next video on the channel. And I'll see you next time.